All right, right now I'm joined by a very special guest, just like we are each and every week here on the John Nabors Show, as it is Razorback baseball season. It's in full swing, and it's pretty fun right now as Arkansas not only is the number 2 team in the country, but they're leading the SEC, but it doesn't get any easier for their schedule upcoming in the coming weekends. So let's talk more about it as we go ahead and welcome in our guy, Tyler Spoon, former Razorback, the 2015 College World Series team, and it's all thanks to Bank of Fayetteville. And Tyler, appreciate you joining us as always, man. How you doing this afternoon?
Man, I'm doing good. How we doing this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, Arkansas is still number 2. Got a series win against Florida this past weekend, and we'll talk a lot about that. And I know they have a midweek, their final midweek. We'll get into that too. But that Florida series, man, and you'll take it however it happens. It was crazy there, especially in the first couple games. You had, 3 games in 24 hours, which I know is never easy. But just what did you make of that type of series win? You'll take them, however, but the grittiness, the playmaking, the ability to make big plays in the stretch, just what did you make of that particular series victory for Arkansas?
The biggest thing I took away is that Caglianone is the number 1 overall pick.
Man, that guy's good.
He gets better every time I watch him, and it's like he doesn't hit a ball that's not 100 miles an hour. Yeah, it's crazy. So, but besides that, really glad to see us win those tight games. I mean, like I said, Florida's a team that they can beat anybody literally on any day, and they could also lose to anybody on any day. Especially, I mean, they're like 500 this year. It's crazy. Which that team to me is not a 500 team at all. So, but just to find a way to get it done, kind of get into the nitty gritty, the grind of the SEC play. Weekend 6, weekend 7 coming up, or 8 coming up, whatever it is. So this is when it gets tough. Guys get tired. You know, guys maybe are a little injured. Obviously, don't have Molina for this past weekend. So be able to find a way to get 2 out of 3 against a really good Florida team, get some momentum going into Kentucky. It was a good weekend. Yeah,
I was thinking like Caglianone. The players like him just are kind of few and far between. I'm looking up there at the scoreboard and seeing 418 when he walks. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. It's not bad. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy's also going to be pitching. You know, later in the series. It's just, I'm not trying to say Shohei Ohtani, but just players like that at major college baseball, they just don't seem to exist a whole lot when you have a guy that's not only elite as a hitter, but also good enough to be a legitimate pitcher and get a lot of run and be counted on. I mean, it just shows his greatness and his athleticism. And if it wasn't for him, maybe Hagen Smith would be one of the leaders for the Golden Spikes. But I'm like, that guy's kind of hard to surpass.
Yeah, he's special, man. We may never see a talent. I mean, I've heard from multiple people that coaches, scouts, that it's almost the best pure bat they've ever seen in college. Like, and then you add the size and the power, and it's just like, the guy gets a ball off his hands and it goes 390 feet, and it's just he's one of those guys. There's guys you play against where they're too big for the field, and like his swing, his power, everything he's got, he's just too big for the field, and it's going to be that way in professional baseball and going forward. And he's a really good pitcher, but his bat is so much better than his pitching. It's crazy. I mean, it's just the way he can get the barrel to the baseball on a lot of the pitches that he does. I mean, you saw the home run he hit. It kind of was just like a half swing, but got a barrel on it, and it flew. So. He's a special talent. I will be very, very shocked if he's not the number 1 overall pick.
I want to ask you also about particular plays and players in this past series. We'll start with the first play. Incredible by Jared Sprag in that moment in the infield where basically it's a close game. Every single run is going to be huge in it. And to have the know-it-all, to have a chopper hit to him, bouncer, barehanded, and almost in the same motion throw it to home and get him out. I mean, that's a big league type of play, and it made the difference in the game. But just speak to like that type of play and him making that type of play and the difficulty that it is.
Yeah, when you're going to play, when you have those 1-0 ball games, 2-1 ball games, and especially on Friday night with Hagen pitching, you're going to have to. Sometimes you got to make plays like that. But man, it was truly impressive and incredible. So he's done a really good job. At the beginning of the year, he kind of made some errors, and you're like, I don't know, but he has been absolute nails the last month and a half, 2 months. So. That was a huge momentum play for us too, because if Florida scores that run, I believe it's going to be tied up, and anything can happen. They get a little momentum, get a run, get the next guy coming up, get a knock, and next thing you know they're leading. But again, just to do that at home, take care of business. You got to make those good plays. Sometimes that's what an elite defense does, and Arkansas again has an elite defense. So. Really impressive. He's done a really good job over there at third.
And I've wondered too, speaking about Dave Van Horn, when it comes to plays like that, Obviously, he wants the play to be made and everything, but it's a high risk, high reward type of play. So is that something that Fayetteville Horns just kind of lets his players, if he misses it, he doesn't scream at him, but if he makes it's great, or is it just, hey, you're trying to make a play. If you don't make it, I don't know how disastrous it could have been, but does he give a lot of freedom at least for players to make plays like that?
Yeah, he's really good. If it's a mistake, he'll call you in and say, hey, he'll let you know. But at the end of the day, I think even on the outside, I think he probably agrees with it because you don't know how many more runs we're going to score. So it's like try to get the out and don't try to keep him from scoring another one, and we'll just try to maintain this lead and win the game. So kind of a do or die situation, and at the end of the day, if the guy gets on first, you still have a double play set up. So I think it was even if he didn't have to catch it barehanded, probably the right play, right decision. So, but yeah, he's really good about giving guys freedom, but that's what you have to do. You have to give them freedom, but also correct them when they make a mistake, so that when going forward, when they face that again, they're going to know what to do. So,
speaking with former Razorback Tyler Spoon here on the John Nabors Show, thanks to the Bank of Fayetteville in downtown Fayetteville, another great play, the one that was #1 on SportsCenter, and I'm sure as a former outfielder, you kind of felt a certain way. Peyton Holt and the deke. I don't think I've ever heard the word deke used more in like a 24-hour period. Like people had to look it up of what it meant, but that play also, and the difference it made in saving the game. Have you just kind of described that play? Is that something that is a common thing? How come it's not more common? And executing it to perfection, just that play right there was the play of the weekend. Yeah, no,
it's that as an outfielder, that's a play you think about like you're just like that would be so cool if I could pull that off. And you're like, you never have the balls to do it. It's like, am I actually going to find a way? Am I actually going to pull a deke? But if I miss it, then I'm going to look like the biggest idiot of all time. So, it was awesome. It was one of those deals that like I'm jealous I never did that. It was cool. But yeah, man, just Peyton Holt, just the dirtbag, man. He's
the dirtbag.
He just gritty, grindy, just in the middle of everything, and what a play! You got to have the guts to do it, and he did it.
Well, I was out, and I'll be honest, I was out in the hog pen. I was visiting some friends out there, and I didn't see him do the deke. All I saw was the Florida base runner, like just hesitant. I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, dude, like that's just basic. And then I saw the replay and how it happened. So, like, walk us through what it is exactly and what it can do. Because, again, I'm wondering why isn't it done more often? Is it because of the difficulty of it? Is it also a high risk? Like, just walk us through what it is and why it's not maybe done a lot more than what we see.
It's definitely high risk because you think about moving your glove a lot and you got a ball coming in. If you try to do it and then you miss the ball, that's
that's bad.
Go pick your spot on the bench real quick. So again, as a base runner, no one ever does it. So it's like when it does happen, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And so I get it. At the same time, as a base runner, you got to like know Holt was playing. It was pretty far back there, so he had there was a lot of room. He could have waited a good bit to make sure that ball was in the glove and then taken off. So just kind of a blunder. But again, you don't ever see that, so it's like, what do? You just sometimes you just don't know how to react to it. But it's super high risk, high reward, and it paid off for us. So I'm glad we were on the right side of it.
Because I again watched the replay about 100 times, just continuing to try to see it. It's not only the play, but also having the IQ to throw it to third. And I don't want to speak for the Florida run, but I guess he just kind of panicked in a moment because then he still took off running. Like I don't know if that was more of the baseline coach or whatever, but it just seemed like that it was a lot of confusion and kind of panicked and everything. So it was, I guess, not only making the execution of it, but also having the IQ to, like, hey, I'm just going to throw it straight to third immediately as soon as I do it. I just feel like that's a long processes of things that you have to go through your mind in that very small point in time. And again, it's amazing how it worked for Arkansas. Yeah, no,
and DVH teaches all the time. You always have to be prepared for a play. You always have to play the situation in your mind. You have to know exactly what you're going to do when the ball comes to you. You have to be prepared, and then part of that is just visualizing. Okay, if the ball is coming here or a ball goes there, what am I going to do? And you're just mentally ready for it when it happens. So, but also watching that play, it looked like, to me, Holt was trying to just keep the guy from going to third base. And And so, and if he just happened to get the guy at third, but I think his goal, again, it was really deep and to his left, and so you're almost in the right center area, and trying to keep that guy on second base from getting to third, getting 90 feet closer to home. And it just so happened that the guy on third was just like, oh my gosh, what just happened? So threw it straight to third, and also it was a perfect throw. And then Sprag Lot was on; he was caught off guard too, and it was like, you're like, throw it, and then finally, we just had plenty of time to do it. But just a great play all around, and I think he was trying to keep the guy from going to third, and it just worked out so great for us that the guy on third just didn't know what to do. So,
well, I don't know who was more confused: everybody that wasn't able to see it, or Sullivan, where it showed his face afterwards.
He wasn't happy.
Yeah, he was just kind of looking around like. I was like, I need an explanation of what just happened and why we had what I felt like was an easy tag up to score a run, and we ended up with nothing and getting out of the inning in a double play. So, but yeah, one of the coolest plays ever. Speaking of that, Peyton Holt. I know we've talked about. You mentioned dirtbag and whatnot, but I've been so impressed by the way he has really come along. A guy that wasn't always like in the beginning of the season, wasn't like a full shot guy in the lineup, and here he is getting out of the infield, moving out there to the outfield. Even with his bats, the last time I checked, I'll have to double check on the stats now, but at least in SEC play was leading the team in batting average. I've been extremely impressed by him, and shows the talent and the depth of this team, but also how they had to move him around, and yet he is still finding ways to perform, not only defensively but also offensively.
Yeah, he's just in the. It's one of those guys you have to have on your team, and just a guy that his willpower to do it is, Again, he has really good talent, but like his willpower to do it is greater than his talent. It's just like, he's not a perennial big league all-star. It's like he's not Jack Caglianone, but sure as heck, I'll put that guy up against anybody. You just have a feeling that this guy just wants it more than the other guy, wants it more than the pitcher, than the other team. And man, you got to have those kind of guys that just like, he's just aggressive too. I remember last night watching, they were talking, just coming back from a commercial, and before I could blink, it was like Peyton Holt swinging at the first pitch. But I feel like he's the only one that does that too, So Stovall does it a little bit too here and there, but he's just aggressive, man. You got to have that guy that's just like in the box, ready to go to war no matter what. He's not up there to get the perfect pitch. He's up there to barrel the ball and find a way to get on base. And man, he's done such a good job. Again, just has that willpower, and maybe being from Arkansas, maybe that's what it is. There's that little bit of edge, but man, he's been super impressive. I'm really happy to see him in the lineup every day.
I know that this is technically the last midweek series for Arkansas in the regular season. As a player, is that more of a relief thing once that's over with? I mean, assuming it is, but I've always felt like they scheduled it, and Arkansas has done it, where they go through it and then it gets to a certain point, like in the final 3 weeks of the season, it's done with. But just what is that burden being lifted off of the shoulders of the team and of the players mean when it's all right, no more of these midweeks, only weekends from here on out?
Yeah, it's awesome, man, because you get more rest. That's the main thing. You're in the grind. Like I said, we're in the grind of the SEC play last few weekends, and everyone's tired, everyone's body's hurting. So now we're at this point where essentially Mondays are off, mandatory, but Tuesdays now become like a little bit more of a more intense practice type day. And so you get to a little bit more intense practice. You really get to work on the things you get to work on as a team, and do all those things. But then Wednesdays a little bit lighter, and then Thursdays are a lot light. Shorts and shirt, and it's just the rhythm becomes a lot better, and it's a lot more of a the schedules are more fun. It's less those midweek games again, just another game to add to your body, and you're already worn down. So getting that rest is super valuable. That's one thing that to be able to have fresh legs every Friday, every Saturday, every Sunday is going to be really nice.
We're speaking with Tyler Spoon, former Razorback, here on the John Nabors Show, thanks to Bank of Fayetteville, here in downtown Fayetteville. Now, Tyler, looking ahead to this weekend, Kentucky on the road, which I know we've talked about. It wasn't exactly a series we all circled before the year started and say, that's going to be one of the best teams in the SEC and one of the best teams that Arkansas is going to be facing. So what do you make of this series and going on the road, and knowing that it's not only this one, but you still got A&M at the end of the season, Mississippi State sandwiched in between? It's going to come down to who wins the SEC regular season in these, but just what do you make of the matchup heading into this weekend for Arkansas and Lexington?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The next 2 weekends we've got Kentucky, Mississippi State, two teams that were picked to be at the bottom of the SEC, of course, and they're both top 15 teams.
Of course.
But man, Kentucky's just the classic team that, like, you look at Waldschmidt's the one guy that's kind of like a superstar. He's really, really good, but they're just a team of just scrappy guys. It seems like a bunch of Peyton Holtz is what it seems like, and they may not have the star power, but man, they know how to win, and they're going to fight you to the death. So it's going to be tough, man. You look at their series against Tennessee a couple weeks ago. That was an all-out war all the way through Game 3. I think Game 3 was like 13-11 or something like that, and Tennessee ended up winning. But man, they're going to be tough. And the last couple weeks, it looks like they're starting to wear down a little bit. But again, you're getting them at home, and hopefully we can take care of business. And they haven't seen a pitching staff like Arkansas yet, so I'm curious to see. But again, they're just scrappy, man, and those teams can be really, really tough to beat. So if we can just find a way to show up and somehow win too, man, it's going to be an incredible weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm just hoping for. I guess the Molina thing is always going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
He didn't play this past weekend, as we know, and he's been really good so far. And I think Dave Van Horn even said last week and heading into the series that he was like 90%. So it's like he technically, I guess, could have gone, but they decided against it. But assuming that he's going to be healthy enough to go this weekend and whatever, how big is that getting him back? But if he's not, kind of what do you think that the play is for Dave Van Horn, and especially if it gets into a rubber match?
Yeah, again, kind of goes back to it's really nice to be 14-4 where you can give your guy a rest. But I think he'll be good, man. From everything I've seen and heard, I think he's going to be just fine. Just one of those deals where you have the luxury of giving a guy a week rest to just get 100% that sometimes you don't have, and you just take advantage of it when you get that opportunity. So maybe a little bit of a mental break for Molina too. Just give him a little breather, and maybe he comes out and he's the best he's been this next week. So. But if for some reason he can't go this weekend, I think you'll probably see the exact same thing. It'll be TBD where you go Hagen, Tigert, and then flip a coin. We've got someone that throws 95 in the bullpen that'll come in and start the game. So, but the key is obviously try to win those first two games with your dudes. But I think Molina will be good. I think he'll be back this weekend.
I think so too, especially knowing what's kind of on the line here against a team like Kentucky. And I think seeing the pitching continuing to try, like Gage Wood last night, I thought was really great. I think he had went through 9 batters and 9 outs, or faced the minimum at least. So he's somebody that they've been kind of counting on and moving around. I know Jake Faraday, who has struggled. Against Florida, he came in. Arkansas didn't win the game, but he looked better. Maybe it's because the pressure was off. I don't know. But as far as some of the bullpen guys, who are guys that you're really looking at to step up, maybe guys that have struggled this year that are going to have to step up, especially as we get closer to postseason play.
Yeah, and maybe Gage Wood's just a starter. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
So he did start last.
He did start.
Yeah, so I was like, wait, am I going? Yeah, but maybe he's a starter. Who knows? Maybe we figured something out. So maybe he's game 3. But I think, man, just crazy thing about Faraday can figure it. Just get more consistent. That's another arm that throws 98, and couldn't be more impressed with Fouch. He's a guy that I kind of wrote off last year. That I was like, he's going to be the typical throws really hard, can't throw a strike. And so, but man, has he done an incredible job. And it's just, it's 100 miles an hour. I'm going to throw it at you, and here we go. Good luck. See if you can hit it. But man, he's been so good. He's going to be really important for us. But I think the other guy that I think he's had a little bit of a rough time lately, but is going to be very important, is going to be Cody Frank. We got to have that guy. He's just the crafty veteran that throws a lot of strikes, mixes his pitch as well. But we're going to need a guy like that to come in and day 3 especially, a Sunday game where if whoever's pitching on Sunday maybe only can go 4 or 5, just throws a lot of pitches, and we need someone to bridge that gap to the 7th, 8th inning. We got to have him. So or even Saturday. He's going to be really important for us. So I think if we can just see him, hopefully get the bad outings out of his system, and be good the next month and a half, 2 months, that's going to be really important for us.
I think we've also talked about this, and I'm not singling anyone out, but the one that also on the side of defense and offense, but specifically offense, Kendall Diggs, man. It's just, he's a team captain, and he's been a guy who's established himself as he's had so many clutch hits, and you think about walk-off home runs and in his past, but it's just not been great for him here recently. I know funks happen in sports, and especially in baseball, but how do you get out of it? How does someone like him get back to where we know what he's capable of, and we know where he needs to be? Because let's be honest, every player is important, but your team captain and a guy out there in the outfield, a guy that's been there, you have to have him playing at the highest level, especially as we get to postseason play.
Yeah, I think DVH is doing the right thing by continuing to play him, and even myself, sometimes I'm wondering, like, man, maybe we should sit him this game, whatever. But you got it. You can't sit your way out of a slump. You can't walk your way out of a slump. You have to hit. So I think DVH is doing the right thing by playing him as much as he can, just letting him try to find it. You got to let him try to find it. That's the only way he's going to do it. And so if he can just maybe one thing that clicks in a game or whatever it is, and if that's what turns it around, and you got to go through 30 really bad games of Kendall Diggs for him to figure it out, you'll take that all day long. So, and it may be a deal where he gives them all the way until postseason to try to figure it out. And if it's still at that point where it's like this isn't getting it done, then you may see him not play. So, but again, he's just a proven track record. He's earned everybody's trust in that locker room and with the coaching staff especially. So, again, he's a guy that at any second it could flip. The switch could flip and just unleash a monster. And that's what we hopefully that happens. But continuing to play him, don't give up on him because what's in there. He's what he's capable of. So hopefully he can just find it within the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'm hoping so because again they need to count on all these guys, and it's just weird also how the schedule plays out. Like I'm curious as a player if you even have a preference, but when it comes to your toughest part of your SEC slate, would you rather it be in the early part of the conference slate or at the end?
Oh yeah, you want to be at the early, man.
Yeah, I know that's what I was thinking too.
You want to get because again, I say that you want to have it at the beginning, I think, but you're just a little bit fresher. You feel like you're a little bit more on top of your game, but. Sometimes you play those good teams in the end. If you can find a way to win those series at the end, maybe it starts the snowball and just gets your team hot at the right time, So, but yeah, it's good to play those teams early, but especially if you can win those games, because then next thing you know, you look up and you're like, okay, the next 5 series are not as tough. Like, let's take care of business and look up and maybe we win an SEC championship. So. But yeah, Arkansas's got a tough draw this year on the last few series, so it'll be a fun few weekends. I think honestly, if we can just find a way to go 5-4, that's unbelievable.
I'll sign up for it right now.
Oh man, and that would put us at what 21-9 in the SEC, I think.
That's not bad. That's decent. Decent.
People don't realize how hard it is to win 20 games in the SEC. It's unbelievably hard. Yeah. I mean, this year we won all 10 series. How many did we win? 22?
I think it was it was just over 20.
Yeah, and so you win every series. Even then, it's like, good. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So so win 20 games, you're automatically a national seed. 20 games in the SEC, you're a national seed. There's no question about it. So I think that's the goal we try to get to.
Yeah, because I think that's just knowing the conference, and of course the most difficult part of it's coming up, but. Just getting to that national seed too, like you don't want to be number one because of the whole thing, but just getting to that national seed where obviously this team is so much better at home as they've won 30 games at home for the 5th time in program history. That's huge. So yeah, if they can just get to that point and get to that national seed, I think everybody will be pretty pumped up and excited about it too. Now I know that at the time of this interview when it replays, Arkansas is already playing against Missouri State. They won last night's game, but I'm curious. You ever feel a certain type of way with Missouri State, knowing when what you guys had in that super regional and back in 2015, and how mad those Missouri State people were because they were supposed to host that super, and then not only that, but the 2017 3 a.m. game, which I remember going to, and how insane that was.
Yep.
I know that there's history with a lot of these programs and teams, but Missouri State and seeing the same coach over there, it's like, man, every time I saw him last night, I was like, I remember you. Yeah. I remember that. Good program, but always seems like there was some epic moments between these two teams. Yeah, no, it's that 2015 team. It's fun. It's funny because like me and Bobby and Benny, we're good friends with a lot of those guys now. Like Tate Matheny, Joey Hawkins, he's their hitting coach, and I know Bobby knows Eric Sherray pretty well. Just some guys from that team. Again, a lot of us just know, and it's stuff that they're still frustrated about, but we can all look at and laugh about. And but yeah, man, that 2015 team, man, that was, you want to talk about a scrappy team. That was one of the toughest teams, of all time that I've faced, especially, again, they're a mid-major, but man, their baseball program is unbelievable. And Coach Gutton has been, he's a staple. He's done it the right way. He's been really, really good at Missouri State. And, so that series is always fun because he's got a good team always, and there's quite a few Arkansas kids that find a way to make their way to Missouri State. So a little bit of an edge for some of those guys to play Arkansas and try to find a win. So sometimes it gets a little chippy, but it's all fun. Was it Trevor Ezell that played there?
No, he played at SEMO.
SEMO, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
right.
But they're always pretty good too. So
some about those programs up there, all those connections. But the only player I'll always remember, I know he was more of the 2017 team. was Jake Berger. Because I remember that guy literally looked like a burger, but he could hit the crap out of the ball, man.
Yes.
Like just a big old dude. And I just remember, I was like, wow, that name is very fitting for that guy. But he was really good. And that 3 a.m. game, I'll never forget that. That was kind of cool, too, because there's no other sport you can really do that in.
No.
Where you'd have to be up until 3 a.m. At home, dealing with rain delays, seeing Dave Van Horn at the famous, gif of him yelling, "It's not even raining," when it's like pouring rain in front of him. But
that's funny.
Yeah, those were good times and a great matchup there too. Yep. So, but yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun coming down this stretch for Razorback baseball, and I know a lot of people's attention is going to be paid to that. But over at the Bank of Fayetteville, I know you guys are staying busy. In fact, I know you're talking about how busy you've been here walking in. So what do you guys got going on over there at the Bank of Fayetteville here in downtown?
Yeah, man, it's it's getting crazy, and obviously this area is just expanding so much, and a lot of people have the dream of buying a home here and buying land here or building a house here, whatever it is, and so we're helping a lot of people right now in those aspects of life, and along with people just that may own their own business here and starting a business here in Northwest Arkansas. So we're really focused on just helping this area grow, helping the people grow. And so, but yeah, we just want to take care of people, man. That's the bottom line, the community bank. So, it's been fun. I've really enjoyed being at the Bank of Fayetteville, and just, again, really, really good people from top to bottom. I mean, it's rare that you're, executives are in the same building, and not only that, they come and talk to you, and everyone's kind of collaborating together. So it's been fun, and I've really enjoyed it. But just the mindset of just helping the people in the community, helping them pursue their dreams, buying a home, buying land, and especially in this area, it's hard to find any of that these days. But yeah, man, it's been great. So we're just kind of plugging away right now and just trying to help people out as much as possible.
I feel you. Well, you guys do a great job at it. We really appreciate you being able to come in with us every week. Appreciate the Bank of Fayetteville for making it possible. But as former Razorback Tyler Spoon joined us, Tyler, enjoy the weekend. Looking forward to catching up with you next weekend. Hopefully talking about a huge series victory against Kentucky, man. But we'll speak to you then.
Sounds good. Go Hogs.